Alright, so this is my video about the Midsummer Night's Dream play that we read. And I'm just gonna get right on moving here. So question number one, what did I find interesting? I thought it was really cool that Puck, like, talked to the audience at the end instead of, like, just performing the play, he just talked to them. I think it's really cool when playwrights work that into their plays. So that was really interesting for me to read about that. Question two, a couple of these perspectives that I noticed. I compared the craftsmen to like lower class citizens in this society and any other societies. A couple reasons that I said that was because they're in a low budget play. They're under lower classmen, so they don't have as much money to spend on a real big fancy play. They're getting all these props like from laying around their house and stuff. They're practicing in the woods. They're not like in a main theater or anything. So that was one reason why I drew that conclusion. Another one was because they suck at acting. They're really terrible. I think they all really enjoy acting, but they couldn't make it into a career, so that's why they became craftsmen. And they just need to spend all their time, working to keep themselves and their families afloat, and things like that. So that's why I drew that conclusion. The next part of question two, I thought love could be seen as like really fickle and it's always changing and things like that. Because Demetrius loved Helena at first, but then when he saw Hermia, he left her in the dust. He just blew her off. But then at the end of the play, Puck uses that like juice from the flower to squirt it into squirt it on his eyelids while he's sleeping, and then he falls back in love with Helena, and Lysander falls in love with Helena as well. It's just it's a huge mess between the four of them just jumping around and stuff, and that's why I said I feel like love is always changing and stuff, because they always were changing, who they were in love with and things like that. So question number three, I didn't really understand why women couldn't marry who they wanted, so I did some research on that, and I mean, like, I've heard of this, but I wanted to know why, and there wasn't really any actual research. I guess that's just the way that society was back then. Women didn't have a whole lot of rights or freedom or say or anything like that, and I thought, maybe there was like a specific reason, but there really wasn't. Question number four, comparing and contrasting genders and things like that. I thought the gender lines were really blurred throughout the play, because they had some of the craftsmen, they were portraying, the female actors and things like that. And Puck, he also didn't really fit any of like the big strong male stereotypes that we see in a lot of plays and things like that. So I thought the lines were really blurred there. Question five, I thought that the audience probably felt the same way that I did, that the lines were really blurred, especially because back in Shakespeare's time, males would play the female parts. So it was really hard to kind of, define the proper gender roles, or maybe not proper, but just the standard gender roles that we usually see. And final question is questions that I have. I was wondering why you thought that William Shakespeare wrote into the final scene of the play that Puck would talk to the audience. And I was also wondering what happens next, do you think? I know that Hermia had to choose between Demetrius and Lysander, and ultimately she ended up marrying Lysander, which was good for her, but that's not what her father wanted. And that's one of the examples of several loose ends that I wasn't really sure that got tied. So I was wondering, what do you think happens after that? So that's my video. It's a little bit long here, but I'm just going to send it on in, so rock on.